We are live.
Hi guys.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is the Speed Mooting Partners in Crime podcast.
Episode 72.
Episode 72. Basically, there's no Formula 1 drivers in the 70s, really. I'm talking about the first port of call, the most important, well, not the most important thing, probably the least important thing on the podcast, if I'm being frank. But we have to name it at the start.
Yep.
So we normally use Formula 1 drivers and their corresponding numbers. But recently we've been searching for wrestlers born in the year that corresponds. Getting a bit bored of that, but I thought, I'll just have a little Google. And today's one was too big not to do it.
Okay.
Physically and metaphorically.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So almost a big wrestler.
Big wrestler. Someone large. Well, I say big. Big compared to normal humans, but probably not massive compared to some wrestlers.
I was going to say, that's pretty much, that's what you'd say about most wrestlers, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But this guy is also an actor.
Okay.
And Vin Diesel would refer to him as family. That's got to be an obvious one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was thinking it could have been John Cena at first because he's acting as well, isn't he?
Oh, and he's also probably part of Vin Diesel's family as well, isn't he?
I completely forgot he was in the latest one, wasn't he? But
yeah
I did go to The Rock when you said that.
But yeah, no, The Rock. So, as I say, too big a one not to miss. We're watching Ballers at the minute, aren't we?
We are watching Ballers.
Yeah, good little show.
It is good. It's not... It's losing me at the end, I've got to be honest. Now I feel like I'm just watching it to finish it now.
Yeah, it is getting a bit...
It's just the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
And they've time jumped. I won't spoil it in case anyone's going to go watch it for the first time, but they're not even explaining what's happened.
Yeah.
Some of the characters aren't speaking anymore or whatever, and you don't even know what's gone on.
Yeah, it is a bit jumpy around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless we've literally missed seasons, maybe.
I don't think so.
Who knows?
Anyway,
there we are. But last week Hayley took a stand and said that she was going to name an episode.
I think we were all getting a bit bored of listening to wrestlers.
So am I, if I'm being honest with you. I wasn't going to do it again.
It was the conversation we had last week, wasn't it? We said, okay, I'm going to do it to shake it up.
Okay, go on. What are we doing this week, Hayley?
So another person that we're going to name the episode after is someone who was also born in 1972.
Yeah.
She is one of the main actors in one of my favourite sitcoms, Modern Family.
Yeah.
And she has a very distinctive, I think it's Colombian accent that she's very famous for as well. Do you know who it is, John?
I would say Sofia Vergara.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
So, welcome to episode 72.
Sofia Vergara and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson special.
Perfect. Welcome.
Welcome. So, interesting one, yeah. We're shaking it up. We'll be on. I'm a bit excited that we'll be on Formula 1 and wrestlers. Actually.
Yeah. I did actually have a little look at case law as well, and there was a good case from 1972, but then for reasons we'll talk about in a minute, I liked the Sophia angle better.
Okay.
I haven't got it up in front of me now, actually. I might have closed it down, so I will just say a little bit about it and maybe we let our audience see if they can name the case.
Oh, go on.
So it's actually a case that you probably will have been taught in equity and trusts.
Yeah.
Because it was the case that established a constructive trust beyond a resulting trust. I'll tell you the facts of the case.
Go on.
So, again, I looked at this a couple of hours ago, so please don't come for me in the comments. I'm saying this from memory, okay? So, a elderly mother moved in with his son.
Yeah.
Gave him a sum of money, around £600, which was an awful lot back when this case transpired.
Yeah.
They built an extension on the house.
Yeah.
And a short while afterwards, they fell out, so she moved out and wanted her money back or an interest in the house for what she put in it to build this extension.
Yeah.
And it was actually Lord Denning that created this ruling that said she did have a resulting interest in the house, and it was a constructive trust, not a resulting trust. The main scenario where a court will find a constructing trust is when the actions of the parties, aka the son taking this money from his mum and building a significant extension on the house that's going to give him a lot more money when he comes to sell it, is that it would be unjust not to award a trust.
Right, okay.
Does that sound familiar to you at all, that case? I'm sure
does.
it might have been landlord, it might have been equity and trust, like when you were looking.
Yeah, could have been either. They kind of cross over, don't they?
Well, one for next week, audience members. So you know it was a 1972 case because we're on episode 72. Can you go and find the case from my very poorly remembered description of it? And if you can, comment below and we'll give you a shout out next week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Can't remember. Yeah, I was thinking, key one I remember from Denny was sort of in Re Vanderbilt, but it's definitely not Vanderbilt, because I think that was to do with trust funds.
Yeah, I haven't even got it open anymore to go and find it. No, can't be bothered to start Googling it again, so...
Yeah, not a problem. Anyway.
Next week we will announce it, because I will do my homework.
Really?
So, anyway, the reason I chose Sophia instead was because, as I mentioned, she has a really distinctive accent that we all love her for. I think despite she's been in America now for a long, long time, but she's still got the strong accent. I'm going to Google it really quickly, actually, just to check it is Colombian, because I don't want to insult her by giving her an accent that she doesn't have. Yeah, Colombian American actress she is. So yeah, Colombian. Yeah. But yeah, she's really, really famous for her accent.
Nice.
Yeah. And she was actually mentioned in a comment on a LinkedIn post I did very recently. So it was about a week ago, maybe a bit longer than a week ago.
Yeah.
And I did a post sharing a story that we think we may have talked about on this podcast before.
Yeah.
I'll just briefly recap it. So when I was at university, first or second year, I can never quite remember which one it was, but very early on, I was doing some marshalling with the Crown Court judge, and he was giving me some advice, some really good career advice actually. He was a really nice guy, he was a really great judge, but one piece of advice that he gave me that stuck with me for the wrong reasons was, you've got to lose that accent.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember, he might have been regional himself, but he just didn't sound like it at all anymore. So yeah, his advice was very much, at the time I was so much more Scouse than I am now, because I've been, working in a professional capacity for so long. And also, we've talked about this in the podcast, haven't we, John? We are a lot better now at being conscious of our own voices and making sure we slow down and we enunciate and all that good jazz. But going back to first year of university, I wouldn't have had any of those skills. So Scouse as they come with, no idea of how to tailor my voice for an audience. So I did a post about that advice and saying basically that looking back on it now, as someone that's been in the legal industry for a good while, just got some decent experience and is now in a position of authority, I guess, within speed mooting anyway. We're mentoring so many young and aspiring lawyers, that it's not advice that I agree with, and I don't think you should lose your accent. It's a very important part of who you are. It can give you some great, great advantages in the legal industry, and yet it can give you some disadvantages as well, but that's not a reason to try and hide who you are or where you come from. And it's my most viral post to date. I think looking at it earlier, I had to go through all my comments. I think it's had nearly 300 comments and close to 3,000 likes. And
really?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And like 100,000 odd impressions and stuff. And
amazing.
The resounding, or I think the unanimous response has been positive and has been in agreement with what I was saying, and people sharing so many stories as well. And someone actually commented and mentioned Sophia. I think they might have been Colombian themselves. Said that they love their accent and that's what it reminds them of, and they're not going to change. And I replied and said, I love her accent, and she's one of my all-time favourite actresses, and the part she plays on Modern Family is one of my favourite sitcoms and favourite characters, and it's just been a really, really positive place to be, LinkedIn, over the last week, from all the reaction to that post.
Yeah, brilliant. That's good, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was very well timed as well, wasn't it? Because a podcast was also released a few days ago where Hayley and I were the guests, and it's a podcast called Doesn't Sound Right, and it's all about accents, isn't it? So I think we're about the 8th episode to be released.
Mhm.
We had 2 Scousers in the rungs. They had Cherie Blair the week before us. And yeah, so the whole idea of the podcast is, well, what impact was having an accent had if you work in the legal industry.
Mhm.
And, you know, I suppose for a long time it would have been a profession where you wouldn't hear any accents. I mean, I'm only guessing here, but, probably seems about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And you're starting to see a lot more balance. Funny enough, one of the questions I was asked on that was, what sort of accents do you see in court? And the point I made was, well, in the magistrates' court, most people have accents. If you go to Liverpool Mags, you go to Bootle Mags, you go to Wirral Mags, you're just going to hear accents. You'll very rarely hear RP in the magistrates' court. If you then go into the Crown Court, it's much more balanced. I suppose it depends on where you are, but even still, really good chunk. And even in the regions, probably still more than 50% of the accents you hear in the roving room are, if they're not RP, very, very polished accents.
Yeah.
And, so we were talking about the impact that having an accent has, particularly when you're at the bar. You were talking about that when you were working in private practice. I suppose even now to an extent as well.
Yeah.
At Speed Mooting, because we run a lot of events. We obviously have lots of meetings with a wide variety of organisations. So it's still an important factor even today with our own organisation.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting conversation, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah. And we won't spoil it too much because it's a great episode. So go and have a listen to it. Once again, that's the Doesn't Sound Right podcast. It was a really great episode. But when I was listening back to it, I was thinking on some of the things we said. And one of the questions that Matt put to us, Matt is one of the podcast hosts, was, is it, and this was him playing devil's advocate from some feedback he's got, because he actually has an accent himself, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's
from the Wirral,
the Wirral, yeah. So
it's
Scouserish accent, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. It's very similar, isn't it?
Very similar to ours. And one of the things he put to us was, is it really the case that people with accents have a disadvantage because other people treat them differently? Or is it because the people themselves lack the confidence? Is it an internal thing?
Yeah.
That puts you at a disadvantage because you don't quite feel good enough? And I was like, that's so interesting. I've been thinking about it even since, and it just made me think, you saying there, John, even now at Speed Mooting, we're conscious of our own accents, but I think it doesn't hold us back at all anymore, and that probably is more a confidence thing. Well, maybe it's both. Maybe it is confidence, and it's becoming more normal for everyone to have a wide variety of accents.
Yeah.
Maybe there is it's not that, it's this, it's just a combination of both things.
Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? Because, we were talking about certainly for pupillage interviews anyway. I don't know what it's like on, training contract interviews, but, when I was younger, early 20s, 21, 22, you go in for these pupillage interviews and, you've been interviewed by people with half the accents. And you go in and you feel about, you do feel about yay big, because, you think, well, do I belong? Have I come from the right background? Have I been to private school? All that kind of business. And even just like, because I'm checking out, I suppose, on a pupillage application, what outside interests have you got? Say, I'm at Kilimanjaro, go skiing every year. That's it's like,
yeah, and that's a wider thing, isn't it? That's that's beyond accents, isn't it? That's your upbringing, I guess.
But it's part and parcel of the same thing. But coming back to it, it does knock you for six when you're speaking with a Scouse accent and being interviewed by people who speak sort of in RP. And I think the point that Matt made, the question he made to us, potentially is valid. Is it a genuine issue, or is it just more of a confidence thing? Because now, certainly, as I haven't had people's interviews for a long time, but I've had other interviews in the past few years, obviously go to the CPS and then go into chambers. And quite frankly, I didn't care.
No.
Because I'm that confident in my own abilities. I've built up a good CV. I go in and say, well, look, here are my skills, here are my credentials. This is how I do the job. Like me all over me kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I suppose when you are younger, you've not got that. It can be a bit of a confidence thing. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting debate.
It is, yeah. And that's what the podcast is all about. So once again, go and have a listen to it.
Yeah, have a good listen to it.
Right. Moving on.
Yeah, well, on that, I actually had a question for you.
Oh.
So obviously we're talking about this, and the bar very much is, a good portion of people have RP accents, and I think don't want to spoil it, but one thing we did talk about on the podcast is the benefits of that, because you listen to somebody who speaks that way, they sound very confident, very authoritative, and you can see why people warm to those sorts of accents. But you've worked in some big firms. What was it like in the firms? In terms of splits, did you have lots of people with regional accents, lots of people with...
Yeah, I think there was a good mix, and it's especially because I worked in the regions, but we cross-worked an awful lot. So even though I was based in Manchester, I used to work with the Birmingham office a lot, the London office a lot, and it was a mix. Trying to think back now to like the leadership team. I think more of the leadership team than not would be well spoken.
Yeah.
But not necessarily in the case that none of them had accents. It was just well spoken accents, I guess. Yeah. So like one of my partners was from Birmingham, another was from Sheffield, so they weren't RP.
Yeah.
But they just spoke so well that they carried that air of authority anyway, and it didn't matter what accents they had. And yeah, Aaron Mitchell, their head office was Sheffield, not London. So yeah, maybe it is a bit different in private practice. I mean, I know a partner I worked with in Manchester, he was from part of the north, but he didn't sound it at all.
Yeah.
He did not sound it at all. So maybe it is a bit that, as they've climbed the ranks and stuff, they've learned to mask their own accent a little bit. Because, I mean, there certainly wasn't anyone sat there with a big Scouse accent. The leading partners and directors and stuff. But then when I worked in Liverpool office as well, and I did work with Scouse partners, so
yeah. It's like we went for a meeting, didn't we, recently with someone, not a lawyer, and it was business development meeting, and we sat down, we're doing all the intros. He said to us, "Yeah, I'm from Liverpool, but I don't sound like it because I went to
a posh school, we'll say."
School, yeah.
That wasn't the word he used.
That wasn't the word he used, but yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, well, there we go.
And yeah, there probably is a big part of that, because when I moved firms and when I was, climbing the ranks and qualifying, my own confidence grew. So I didn't pick out the accent so much and think, oh, they sound different to me. But when you're younger, you don't have the confidence. It's one of the big things that you do hear is where you don't fit in.
Yeah. But
really interesting.
And once again, I think it comes back to, I don't think accents are the only criteria that can kind of make you make you feel small, to put it that way.
No. But it's something so, I was going to say visual, but it's not a visual thing, is it? But it's such a big sensory thing that it's very easy to pick up that it sounds different to how you sound, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, this isn't a Doesn't Sound Right podcast.
No.
They have their own, so let's move on. But it's a really, really interesting debate, and I think if you want to talk about that topic some more, by all means, send in your messages and stuff to us. But also you can contact them directly as well, because that's what their podcast is dedicated to. So if you feel really strongly on this issue, then 100% go and check them out.
Yeah, check them out, listen, and as you say, send some questions into them as well.
Yep. Okay, we're going to play a game.
Go on.
I have a fun game. Well, I think it's fun.
Okay.
We'll let the audience decide whether it is fun or not. Legal myth busters.
Oh, go on.
So I'm going to give you some things that typically happen on the TV shows, on the movies.
Yeah.
Stuff that lawyers probably watch and go, oh, that's not what happens. And we're going to talk about what's real, what's not real, and what actually happens.
Yeah, okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
This video is brought to you by Speed Mooting. We are an organisation that help aspiring and junior lawyers. We run online and in-person advocacy and mooting competitions. We do online advocacy and public speaking training, and we run lots of other events to assist people on their legal journey. To learn more, visit our website, speedmooting.com.
First one. Lawyers shout objection every 5 minutes.
No. Well, there's 2 points on that. The every 5 minutes, no, it's not as often as you would think. And secondly, in this country, we don't even do the objection. So I would remember that. So just to preface this, the way that we tend to do it in this country is if there's a question that we're going to object to, so either in evidence, so let's say our oppo is going through evidence in chief and they're leading the question you, or if it's they're cross-examining your client and they've asked a question that's, you know, below the belt or they shouldn't be asking. Stand up, Your Honour, I'm terribly sorry. I don't think that question can be asked, or terribly sorry, my learned friend appears to be leading the witness here. You know, it's very friendly.
It's so British, isn't it? Like
so
the most
British.
Polite way to object.
Well, I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to have to object to that question. I will have to. And I remember the first time I ever did that. So it's not long after I qualified as a solicitor and I'm representing this chap. I think it was on Bladeguards, so possession of a knife. And I remember objecting to, so the guy who was prosecuting me asked a question in cross-examination, whatever it was, I can't remember. I remember objecting to it. And afterwards, you know, I think while we were waiting for the verdict or what have you, my client turned around and said, "Oh, you wrote this, don't you?" "Oh, no, that's it. So I got him an acquittal on the knife charge, but then he got convicted on some really low level charge. He did get convicted on something else. But I got him an acquittal on the major charge. So we were back in the following week and we had a different prosecutor. And for whatever reason, we sat there and he's turning around to the prosecutor going, "This guy looking at me, he loves it. He's there, objection, up and down." We tend to, it's not every 5 minutes and it's not shouting at the judge. It's terribly sorry, but I have to object.
Yep.
But the one that does happen occasionally is when they're leading. I don't do it this way, but some people do. They'll stand up and go, "Your Honour, I don't know whether my learned friend wants to get in the witness box because he appears to be giving evidence himself."
So you can get a little bit snarky,
yeah.
but not like it's done on the movies.
Yeah.
"Your Honour, objection! He's badgering the witness!"
I was watching one the other day, and it was Dexter. Dexter Original Sin, so one of the spin-offs. And this was cross-examination. And the opponent you know, so that's, I can't remember which way around it was. Let's say it's the prosecutor or cross-examining the defendant. And the defence lawyer stands up and goes, "Objection! That was a leading question." And the judge will like, yeah, sustained, yeah. Who signed off on this one? For those who don't know, leading questions are exactly the point of cross-examination. Not only are they allowed, they're actively encouraged. 90% of your questions should be leading questions. So yeah, that's very much encouraged. So someone obviously didn't get the sign off from a lawyer to look at that one beforehand.
It's crazy, isn't it? You think everyone that does a legal drama or legal TV show should have like legal counsel telling them, yeah, this is accurate.
Yeah.
I suppose they don't care. It makes good TV regardless.
It's funny, I was thinking about this, so it's like, it's dead hard, isn't it, watching a legal programme a week and thinking, "Oh, it doesn't happen. And the same with like any form of car movie as well. And you know, like the Formula 1 film, we watch it and go, "No, well, that wouldn't happen, that's wrong with it." But actually, I suppose using a bit of poetic license like that is actually what makes it interesting. You know, I think about, so say if I'm watching a sports movie that's one that I don't follow, I don't know, say it was like a tennis movie or something, and it's not quite right, it's all a bit dramatic, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I enjoy this. This is," you know, but if a tennis fan would watch it, they go,
"It's not realistic."
That's not realistic. So I think the non-realism is actually what makes it entertaining.
Ready for another?
Let's do it.
Okay. Barristers always know the truth about their client's guilt or innocence. So I think, just to give you a bit more context, this is, you know, in the movies where the client will say to the dodgy lawyer, "You've got to get me off, like, I can't go down for this." "Yeah, I did it, but you've got to get me off." And like, "Don't worry, Jim, I'm going to get you out of this or whatever. You say this, don't say that.
Oh, right, I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. No. So to put it another way, we're not guns for hire. So you can't go to your lawyer and go, I did it, but I want to raise a defence of this, or can you tell me what defence is going to run, what's going to wash for me, sort of thing. Now, all right, with that second example, I did it, but I want to tell me what the defence would wash. I suppose you could say I'm going to test the evidence. You can say I'm testing the evidence, but you're giving up your credit, whatever it might be, you can't put a positive defence forward, or there might be a procedural issue that you can run or what have you. You can't run it. I didn't do it. Defence if they told you that. So you have a duty as a lawyer. You have a duty to the court. So if your client turns around and goes, "I'm guilty. I did it," or say that I didn't. No, you can't run that defence.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can test the prosecution's evidence. You wouldn't be able to call your own client to give evidence, because as soon as they go in the witness box and say, "I didn't do it,"
you're embarrassed.
You're embarrassed. So all you can really do is test the strength of the prosecution's evidence. So it might be dead easy example. Pick any offence in the world that you want. Burglary.
Yeah, go for burglary. Yeah.
And let's say your client goes, "Yeah, I did it, but I want you to." And the issue is, let's say you've got identification witnesses. You can cross-examine them and ask them if they're absolutely sure, how far were you, what's the lighting like, etc. And your closing speech isn't going to be, my client didn't do it. You've heard the evidence of these witnesses. In light of what they told the court, are you sure? So it's not the strongest defence in the world, but you can, within the ethical guidelines, do that if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, you couldn't run a positive defence and say my client did not do it. All you can really do is test the prosecution's evidence.
Yeah. It's not like the mob films where, they have one brief on speed dial and he comes in and gets them off every single time. And what were we watching? Yellowstone. We've recently finished Yellowstone, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it's like, I've tried to say this without spoilers in case you haven't watched it, but one of the main characters in that, Jamie, becomes the Attorney General, but he's a lawyer as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he does some dodgy things in that show. Like he goes into somebody who's been accused of doing something or has done it, and Jamie knows, and he says, "Here's what's going to happen. Here's what you're going to say. Here's what you're going to do."
Yeah. There's none of that.
That doesn't happen
you can't be coaching witnesses.
in real life. No, not at all. Not at all. We are a very honest profession, aren't we, John?
We are indeed.
Okay, we'll do one more of these because it's fun. I've got loads, but maybe we can do this again in the future. I liked this one because it made me think of the Legally Blonde film. So, a dramatic confession on the witness stand ends the trial immediately. So, let me give you an example, John, to talk, and you might say this would never happen in any circumstances.
Okay, come on.
But so on Legally Blonde, one of the witnesses is being questioned, cross-examined, and then in the end, the lawyer says something like, that wouldn't happen. But it did happen this way, didn't it? Because you're the one who shot your father. And then she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to do it. I meant to shoot her." And then the judge says, "Oh, take that witness into custody. But for this trial, you are free to go." Bangs the gavel, and then everyone's like, "Yay!" Leaving the courtroom. Like, that's the end of the case. And that happens a lot on movies. So you might say, how realistic is it that would happen in the witness box and stuff? But let's just say, for argument's sake, halfway through the trial, something dramatic happens and the case is over, like it's clear that they're guilty or not guilty.
Yeah.
Then the judge would just go, "Okay, let's go home."
No. So I mean, even if it got to that point, what will probably happen? So the chances of you getting a confession off a witness are very, very limited, because even if you cross-examine someone, really, really well, you've tied them up in knots, you've given them nowhere to go, they'll still stick to their guns and go, "Nah, I didn't do it." Or if you're blaming somebody else, they'll still stick to what they're saying. So the chances of you getting a confession are almost zero. I've never seen it, never heard it happen.
What if it's the defendant as a witness, and in the witness box, and they go, "Oh, I can't do this. Fine, yeah, fine. It was me. I did burgle that house."
I mean,
it still wouldn't. It couldn't end the trial, could it?
Well, this is where I'm going. I was about to explain this. Right. So So the chances of that happening is zero. This is what I'm prefacing it with. Well, let's say this happened. All right, okay. So let's say you're at trial. Take your defendants as an example then, and the defendant goes, yeah, that's not ended the trial. You're still in the process of the witness giving evidence. I mean, you know where it's going to go. So what would probably happen is, well, number one is if you're defending, you've probably got some issues then because your client's giving you different instructions to, or giving, very different evidence to what your instructions are. When it comes to, I mean, the trial's not over, so in theory, you need the trial to finish. So, unless they want to say, you know what, I want to throw my hand in and plead guilty now, which probably would happen. So you'd probably say, you'd probably be asking them for it to be, they probably need to be rearranged or something at this stage. Because just because they've admitted guilt in the witness box is not a verdict, nothing's been registered, nothing's against them. So you probably need to get to the end of the trial, unless you're going to have them rearranged, which is probably more likely. Then take the alternative example of, let's say, you have a prosecution witness that is going to, cop to it, say, yeah, fair play, I am the one that did it. Depending on what approach the prosecution are going to take to it. So I'm literally thinking this through as I'm talking about this now. So the prosecution might want to have a serious think about whether they're still proceeding against your clients. So the prosecution might turn on and say, well, do you know what? We're going to offer no evidence against the defendant in the circumstances. Or if you think that, the person who said it is not being quite truthful, they might want to make them a hostile witness, cross-examine that individual. The one time I've had something remotely similar to this. So I was running a drink drive trial, and the defendant was, in actual fact, he was up on a couple of things. I think it might have been drink and drive, I can't remember. And the issue was a procedural issue. So whenever the police want to take, so it would have been a blood case. So whenever the police want to take a blood sample from somebody, they have to fill in two forms, an MGBB-A and an MGBB-B. And it's got a series of questions within it that must be asked of, well, I say must, it's guidance, but police always will ask or should ask. And within the booklets, there's what's called a statutory warning. So before you can put the nurse can put a needle in and take that person's blood sample to be analysed, the police officer completing the form has to warn them and say, I warn you, the failure to give a sample will render you liable to prosecution. And if that warning isn't given, it's a complete defence. It doesn't matter if someone's a million times over the legal limit. Warning's not given, it's a complete defence. And so I was cross-examining this officer because he'd made a few mistakes in the form in the run-up to this, but not on the crucial parts. And then so I pointed out all these different mistakes to him. And then we got to the point about the statutory warning. I said, well, in light of, this, and what you've done here, I said, can you be sure that you gave the statutory warning on that day in custody?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure. And the judge turned around to me and goes, Mr. Duff, I'm going to assume you have no further questions then. Because he's basically, he's put the nail in the coffin for the prosecution.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I've got no further questions. And the prosecutor stood up and said, we're going to offer no evidence.
Yeah.
So literally the case, because we could have cracked on with the case and continued all the way through, but my closing speech would have been, you've heard from the officer, he can't be sure. If he can't be sure, how can you be sure?
Yeah.
So yeah, the prosecution effectively threw the towel into that. So it wouldn't be the judge saying, no, I'm going to dismiss the charge.
Yeah.
It's got to come, you've either got to finish the trial or it would need to come from one of the others to say, haven't rearranged or we're going to throw this towel in. So yes, that's how it works in practice. If you want to see the best example of really bad court procedure, watch a film called Bank of Dave. Well, Bank of Dave 1 set the precedent for how badly a courtroom scene can be done. Bank of Dave 2 took it to a new level, which I'm not criticising the film because the films are brilliant, really good films, but the courtroom scenes are crazy.
Leave something to be desired.
It really does. And it's so in the first one, you're in the magistrate's court, and the magistrate's court are banging their gavel, case dismissed. They made some sort of crazy adverse order against the prosecution as well. And then in the second one, they somehow were in the Crown Court or something, and can't remember why I thought that was a bit bizarre. But the outfits were well off and everything, but yeah, the procedures were really bad.
There we go. That is us debunking some legal myths. We might do that again
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, we have one question.
Okay.
So we will do our Ask Speed Squad segment.
Let's do it. Ask Speed Squad.
How do you stay confident when you're up against a much more experienced opponent? And I guess this can apply inside and outside of the courtroom, can't it? Because I know from my time in private practice in litigation, we are, we have opponents, very, very clear opponents in all of our matters. Someone asks for whoever is on the other side of our cases. So it can be the case sometimes that you're in a back and forth with, a partner on the other side. And from our perspective, we've always got guidance, and especially in the larger commercial firms, when you're a trainee, certainly even a lot of the time when you're newly qualified, most of your work is being looked over by a supervising partner or somebody very senior. So you have that, to back you up in the knowledge that somebody on their level or close to their level is behind you, secretly, backing you up and saying, yep, that's right, you can send that to the partner. I've only had it once or twice where somebody very senior opponent is being very, very difficult and obstructive, and it's quite clear it's because they think they can because they're dealing with someone very junior. And a handful of times a partner has stepped in and said, okay, I'm going to basically say everything you're saying is completely true, but this is the kind of person we're dealing with, so I'm going to sign off the next email. And then usually, and very frustratingly, it usually does, the senior person will concede the point. But that's something that doesn't happen very often. Or if it does, as I say, the question is, how do you stay confident in a law firm? You stay confident because you know what you're doing is right. Even if that person is trying to make you feel like it's wrong, you've got people backing you up saying, no, Hayley, it's right, go for it. In a courtroom, it's probably a bit different, I imagine, because you can't, every question or objection they raise, you can't say, hang on, I'm going to go call a supervisor and check I'm right. So you want to talk about it from a courtroom perspective, John?
I think it's all about being confident in your own abilities, because certainly when you're very young and you're a bit green, you can have a bit of self-doubt there. And I certainly had it where I'd be up against, opponents, and you have a bit of a chat beforehand. Oh, you can't, just start thinking about, oh, you can't do that. Oh, the law is this. And you think, oh, I'm new here, Even though you know what you're doing is correct, they'll tell you things that are wrong. And, it just takes a bit of confidence to
stick to your guns.
And it's a bit worrying when you've got more experienced people doing that to you, because at best,
it's unethical, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, at best, they either don't know the law, at worst, they are, deliberately doing unethical things to be a bit underhanded. And it does happen. It's so bad. And so what you need to do is you need to just stick to your guns, be confident in what you're doing, and go, well, do you know what? Doesn't matter how experienced that person is. Stick to your guns in what you're doing. Now, let's say you're up against someone who plays with a straight bat. They might be more experienced than you. They might have done more cases than you, but all you can do is put all your preparation in. If you've been instructed on that case, you've obviously got the experience and the expertise to deal with that. And all you can really do is present it to the best of your ability. And if you do that, hopefully you'll get the results. And I certainly was getting results against people much more experienced than me. I'm not saying, I'm
but
some super lawyer or something, but what I'm saying is, if you're instructed on those cases, then obviously you've got the ability to do so. So it's just a matter really of being confident in your own ability, present it as you can, and things go well, you'll get that result. So there's nothing much more than that than to say it's hard, particularly when you've got people that will try and pull the wool over your eyes, try dodgy tactics, but just know that you've got that knowledge there for a reason, and confidence.
And don't let that, put you off. That's, as John said, it happens, but they are, I don't know if extremes the way, because they do happen, but for the most part, there's good camaraderie at the bar, isn't there? So people are nice and helpful, particularly if they know someone is less experienced. I mean, you've helped out prosecutors and stuff beyond today, haven't you? If you can see the very junior and they're getting stuck. And
even only last week, I was doing it. Just becoming a little bit unstuck. I was there helping her out because it didn't hinder my case at all. It didn't hurt my case. I was happy to help. So yeah, normally your opponents will help you, and it's all about being fair and getting a good outcome.
Yeah.
Obviously, not to the detriment of your own clients.
But, of course, yeah.
But yeah, and the examples I'm giving there, I think quite often it's probably being up against people who are more experienced than you, but getting the law wrong when they're trying to say, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's people being deliberately obtuse. I think it's just
Yeah.
being against people who don't quite know the law or procedure. And you just got to be confident in, well, my interpretation of it is the right interpretation. If I've interpreted it that way.
Yes.
And if you are unsure and you think, what, second guessing yourself, try and give someone a bit more experience to ring. There might be someone else in the roving room, ask them.
Yeah.
To see what we can do.
And there's nothing wrong with, saying to your oppo, oh, okay, that's not how I've interpreted it, but I'm going to go have another look.
Yeah.
Because you'd do that 10, 20 years course still, wouldn't you?
You
so there's nothing wrong with doing it when you're junior, and you just think, oh, they're going to think I don't know. It's like what we were saying earlier on about the accents, isn't it? It's a catch-22 really, because you need the experience to get the confidence. How do you get the confidence when you're not experienced? And the answer is get more. With more experience, you will get more confidence. So, yeah, as John says, all you can really do is prepare to the best of your ability, and just try to remember, you know this too. You're a lawyer too. It doesn't matter if someone's been doing it for 20 years. They were probably instructed just the same time when you were, and you can do
it. 100%. Be confident.
Be confident, yes. Now, before we finish, I just wanted us to talk about a new event that has recently been announced.
Okay.
This is the Mastering the Play in Mitigation. John, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, let's talk all about it. So this is in partnership with Target Jobs. Target Jobs run the National Pupillage Fair. We run the Northern Pupillage Fair. And so, we've partnered up with each other. We'll be exhibiting at theirs, they'll be exhibiting at ours. And in the run-up to the National Pupillage Fair, we're doing an online event. It's going to have a similar format to the Advocacy Club. So it's based on the play mitigation. Anyone can sign up for it. It's completely free. We'll send you papers a week in advance, papers to prepare for a play mitigation. On the night, it'll be on Zoom. I think it's the 30th of October, Hayley.
Yep.
And 90-minute session. We'll put people into small breakout rooms. They'll get to practice a play mitigation, share some peer-to-peer feedback. It's really low pressure, really fun, really engaging. And at the end of the night, I will share some advice on a play mitigation, how to present one. So a lucky few individuals from those who take part on the 30th of October will get the chance to do it again, live, in person, at the National Pupillage Fair. So that'll be really fun, and I will give some feedback to those individuals as well.
Indeed. So if you want to sign up to that, it's on the Target Jobs website.
Or visit our website, speedmooting.com, click on the events page, find the link for it, they'll take you straight to their website. So so that brings us to the end. Just quickly, we'll probably talk about our day yesterday.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a million years ago, but...
It does, doesn't it?
Can you have jet lag from an hour-long flight? Because I think I've got it.
To be fair, I feel that way myself. So last week was my birthday, 35. So anyway, Hayley got me a few bits and bobs, staying with the theme of looking young. I got a Lego, didn't I?
He did, yeah. He's loving Lego at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was into it when I was a kid, and that's it. And then my brother got me this little Lego Formula 1 car for Christmas before, what, 2 or 3
Well, you say little, but they're like so... I don't remember if they were like this when we were little, but they're so like complex now, aren't they? Like, John was sat there like building an actual car engine out of Lego parts.
It's crazy. It's got a proper crankshaft that turns over, that moves the pistons up and down in order. It's mental.
Crazy. But anyway.
Right, so we're not talking Lego, so I've got a few gifts, but one of them was an extreme day trip to Dublin, which we took a bail of yesterday.
We certainly did.
So we got up nice and early, 4:30 start, something like that, in the taxi for 5:20. Went to Liverpool John Lennon Airport, flight over to Dublin,
So we were in the city centre by 9:30.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, I suppose actually when you talk about being tired, if you think about it, we woke up at 4:30, we were at Dublin city centre for another 5 hours, so you're on the go for 5 hours before you even get to Dublin.
Yeah.
And then we're on the go all day. We did 26,000 steps.
It was like 28 in the end, John.
28, wow. But we saw loads, didn't we?
Yes.
We started with breakfast.
Yep.
Then we went to Trinity College. We went to the police museum.
That was so cool.
Brilliant. That might have been the highlight. It wasn't even on our itinerary.
No. So we went to Dublin Castle, and everywhere like tries to charge you to go in, and we won't grumble too much about this because we'll sound like old grumblies, but it's cathedrals, it's castles. Like, do you really need to charge admission? Like, I get donations and stuff because they cost a lot to upkeep it, but when you're asking for like £12 a person or something just to go in to see like inside of a castle chapel, it's like, I'm not paying it. we did look around and it was beautiful. But yeah, and we also got in trouble at Trinity College, didn't we, at one point?
Yeah.
This was completely like accidental, but we're just wandering around the college and there's loads of tour people there and they try to sell you the people go with the tour guides. I was like, no, we're just going to have a wander ourselves and see what we can see, and it was gorgeous. And we seen loads of people going in this big door, didn't we? So we just went in there and there was like, it wasn't dinosaur bones, was it? It was like deer bones and stuff like this. And then this guy comes marching up to us, hey, who are you here with? And I was just like, no one? And they were like, get out, you need a tour guide. And it was like, oh, okay. So we got in trouble there. We went to the castle. We had a look at as much as we could see without paying crazy admission fees. And then we just came across this police museum that was free and amazing. So we got to see the whole history of the Irish police force.
Yeah.
John got to sit on a police motorbike. I'll pop the picture up here for anyone who's watching it.
Yeah, so we did that. We probably saw something else. Then we went to a popular pizza place, didn't we? Got a few places.
Probably saw something else. Went to the Guinness.
Oh my God.
Tour, like the highlight of the whole day.
Yeah, we did a tour of the Guinness factory. Now, neither Hayley nor I drink Guinness.
No, but still, it was amazing.
That was I've been on a few brewery and distillery tours. That's by far the best one I've been on.
Yes.
They know what they're doing. A little bit of lore in there. They had their 9,000-year lease.
Yes, that was so cool. So they've got a 9,000-year lease as you walk. Was it 9,000, yeah?
I think it's 9,000 years.
I couldn't quite hear what the guy was saying because it's weird the way they do that intro in the main room where all the shops and stuff are. So you try and listen, and then you've got everyone at the gift shop behind you, and then you're in a group with like 40, 50 other people. So I wish I could have heard that more.
Yeah.
I should have shouted, I'm a property lawyer, let me through, because I was probably the most interested out of anybody there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hear him properly. But yeah, I know he said it was a long lease and it was for a tiny amount each year, wasn't it? Like basically like a peppercorn rent or something.
Something like that, yeah. So I think it's like, I couldn't see the actual figure, but I've heard it's like 40 quid a year.
Yeah, I tried to, when everyone got left, I tried to get down and read the lease, but it's a really old lease, so you can't read it.
I wonder if it's on a standing order or whether you go somewhere and drop 40 quid off every year.
Maybe. It might stipulate in the lease exactly how they have to pay it, but I couldn't see it. But anyway, the Guinness factory was amazing. I would highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And then what do we do from there?
So
we went to get pizza. We went to a viral pizza place called Bambino.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Hot honey on a pepperoni pizza. Who would have thought? But it was epic.
Yeah, it's good, wasn't it?
It was absolutely delish.
Yeah.
And then from there, we went to the Temple Bar
area,
district.
Yeah.
We took a picture of the viral, the Temple Bar pub. But we didn't go in because it was absolutely chock-a-block, wasn't it? Yeah. So we went just a little bit down the way and went to a lovely beer garden pub there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the prices of pints in Dublin now?
I mean, you need a mortgage.
I'd heard horror stories.
So, I mean, we got basic, not even like, fancy lager or anything. And that was coming out at like 10.80 a pint.
Yeah. Is that London prices or is that even more expensive than London?
It's probably on par with London.
On par with London, yeah.
I mean, if anyone's from the capital or lives in the capital, etc., let us know below how much you guys are paying for a pint these days.
Yeah.
But
To give you some context, we're from Liverpool, and we would say like £7 is pricey, wouldn't we?
Yeah, so I mean, there's the odd place that'll charge us £7. So what you tend to find is you're normally paying, on average, if it's like a basic pint, you're £4-ish.
Yeah.
And if it's a fancy one, you're between £5 and £6, depending on what place you go to.
Yeah.
Some of these like silly places are charging £7 now.
Yeah.
Manchester was the first place I paid £7 for a pint, actually.
Wow.
But yeah, it's come into Liverpool now. That's why we drink in Wetherspoons, because Tim Martin knows the score. He charges £2 off for a pint or £4 for the premium stuff. I mean, at first it wasn't euros, so when you transfer it back to pounds, it's about £9 a pint we were paying. But
Still,
I mean, that's
for like Heineken.
Yeah,
We were happy though because we got to drink. What's that beer that you really like that's not in the UK anymore?
Hop House 13.
Hop House
so it's
13.
So it was over in the UK for a few years. And I googled it before I went, and apparently its sales of it just weren't as good as the sales of Guinness, so it was discontinued in this country. But yeah, it's a nice hoppy beer, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So it was good to try that again. We tried another Irish lager as well. Sound like we were on loads. We literally had about
Yeah, we were drinking little halves, so we
Little
tried a few
halves,
different things. And then we got a 11:30 flight home. Yeah.
So that brings us to the end. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Hayley, have you enjoyed recording?
I've enjoyed recording it, John.
I've enjoyed recording it too. And if you're still listening at this point, drop us a little comment down below, Dublin.
And or a 4-leaf clover emoji.
Yeah, why not? Till next time.
Bye.
Enjoying our videos? Then we'd be super grateful if you could take a moment and subscribe to our channel.